check it. Check it. Oh, I think I got the fever. I'm heated. I'm pumping up the meter. For me, a ringleader, bad party bleeder. Make this what a song. Lead after leader. Hey, can you dig it? I come alive, y'all give me what you got. Back up, come stick up, pump your fist up. You jerk the side of the buckshot to bust. Slip on the morning like a kid. Make it feel alright. Move it up all night. Body rock, show me what you got. Let go break. Slip on the morning like a kid. Make it feel alright. Move it up all night. Body rock, show me what you got. Let go break. Do you wanna get check it out, check it. For me, a ringleader, bad party bleeder. Make this what a song. Lead after leader. Hey, can you dig it? I come alive, y'all give me what you got. Back up, come stick up, pump your fist up. You jerk the side of the buckshot to bust. Slip on the morning like a kid. Wanna make it feel alright. Move it up all night. Body rock, show me what you got. Let go break. Slip on the morning like a kid. Wanna make it feel alright. Move it up all night. Body rock, show me what you got. Let go break.
Cast. Lovely full panel of folks that I deeply admire and am excited to talk about the movie X, a new horror movie from A24 Studios. And yeah, I'm going to go around to introduce everyone to the lovely audience. Without further ado, Skiiwalker Tha Jedi, how are you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm honored to be on here with all you guys, and I'm super excited to be talking about this movie and watching the trailer and just chilling out.
Awesome. Yeah, we're gonna get to the trailer as soon as I get through introducing everyone and going through anyone who's welcoming us in the chat as well. I'm gonna jump over to Ashley the Widow. Welcome back to the channel, Ashley. How are you doing today?
How are you, Raya? I'm good. Happy to be here.
Yay! I'm so glad to have you back. And we got Black Ops in the house. What's up, Jimbo? How are you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good. It's fun talking about this movie, considering I just watched it last night. So excited to hear what everyone thinks about it.
Oh, I'm ready to just get into this movie. I can't wait. And last but not least, we've got Alicia Nava in the house. First time on the channel, girl. How are you doing?
Girl, I'm good. How are you? This is exciting. I can't wait to talk about it. I'm ready.
Absolutely. Really quick, I wanted to check who may have some audio background noise happening. If you can mute. Yeah, thank you so much. But yeah, thank you so much, Nava, for recommending X. When you mentioned this movie to me, I was like, oh well, I'm kind of a puss when it comes to like horror movies, so I was kind of sus to get into it. But honestly, like without getting into spoilers right away, like it isn't even really like that scary. It's mostly like just like it's an homage to horror movies in general, which we'll definitely get into. But thank you so much for this awesome recommendation. I've already watched it twice. I'm gonna watch it again. That's how much I really like this movie.
Wow.
I genuinely enjoy it. Yeah, I know.
Twice. I just watched it at like 1 a.m. last night, and I turned on my computer. I'm just like, okay, what was that?
Yes, there's a lot of like WTF moments that
for sure.
We will definitely get into. But without further ado, I do want to chat or check in with the chat really quick. We got that movie channel in the house locked in and ready for this convo. Thank you for joining us. And we got Sith Holocron in the house. Welcome. And good friend Zod Rider in the house. Thank you so much for joining us, Zod Rider. Hello, everybody. I'll go ahead and share the tab with the trailer as well. And I will have the captions on. It definitely helps when I discuss the trailer with y'all while it's playing, to kind of avoid any like copyright claims or things like that could potentially like kill the vibe of the show. So let me go ahead and share the trailer really quick. Let's see. I know I have it open. Yeah. X official trailer. Yes. Okay. Cool. Sorry, technical difficulties with StreamYard, even though it's like the simplest software to use ever. Awesome. Can y'all see my oh wait, let me see. Add to stream. Got it. Okay. Yeah. Now I can see the screen. Perfect. I'll go ahead and pause the ambient background music really quick so we can get into the trailer. Yes, awesome. Yeah, like going into this movie, I avoided, trailers, spoilers, anything like that. And
Same.
I'm really glad that I did. Nothing was, tarnished for me as far as like the experience. It was a full like surprise through and through. What about you, Skiiwalker? Did you go into into your viewing like without having watched anything on it or read anything on it?
I hadn't read anything, but I had seen the first trailer, so I didn't go in completely blind. But I did like the first trailer, so I was kind of looking forward to seeing this movie anyway. But I really enjoyed it.
How about you, Ashley? I know I sprung this idea on you like earlier this week, and I wasn't sure if you were like a big horror fan yourself or not. But what were your thoughts going into the movie?
I had seen the trailer, the first trailer for the film, so I had some information going into it. So I kind of knew what I was getting into. I didn't realize at the time. I didn't realize it was an A24 film, and I love their movies. So I really enjoyed it, but like with horror films, I like certain specific type, and it kind of like fits that because it was kind of like an homage to like the slasher type of thing, and that's like my wheelhouse, but it was enjoyable.
Definitely. And Jimbo, that's so funny that you watched it like literally last night. What was like your reason for popping it on?
Because I'm a huge horror fan. It's probably one, if not my favorite genre of movies to watch, and I really love A24 and their kind of style of horror movies because it definitely plays on older horror movies and kind of the more iconic ones, but does it with their own twist to it. I definitely love Hereditary and all like their most popular horror films, but this one was definitely unique, and I love so much about it. And I'm just like, it's A24. I know they always do really crazy horror movies, and they're always really good. That's what I like about them, because they have good consistency with quality. And so I checked it out, and wow, I was definitely impressed.
Totally. And Nava, definitely like give me an idea of your affinity for the horror genre. And I know you're a filmmaker as well. This is actually my first time chatting with you like on a panel, so I'm like really excited. I think you're a wonderful personality and content creator, so I definitely want to get your take on like what made you so like excited about this movie. Oh, I think you're on mute, sorry. Oh, you're good.
My bad. Thank you for catching that, because I would have talked a whole monologue. I was really excited. I thought this was going to be the Texas Chainsaw remake. When I first saw the trailer, I was like, this is the remake everybody's talking about. No. But when I saw the first trailer, this is what I really like about A24 movies, is that like they don't ever give too much away in their trailers, and I know that like it's gonna be probably exceed my expectations. So I saw the trailer. Also, I love Britney Snow. I love her, and I was a fan of Mia Goth before, but like leaving this, oh my god, I'm like her number one fan. Amazing. But,
she really did great. I think everyone in the cast did amazing, but she just like rocked it.
Oh my gosh, she was good. She was a good we get spoilers, right?
Yeah, we're gonna get into spoilers too, and then we'll talk about the anticipated plans to continue this series, because I do have an article that did reveal that too, but more on that later.
So will it be called XX?
No, like we'll speaking of Mia Goth, we'll get into how she plays two characters, one of which is going to be the inspiration for the continuation of the series. So more on that later we'll get into. But yeah, just to kind of give the audience kind of a synopsis of the movie, if you haven't already seen it, again, we are getting into spoilers. Essentially, it is sort of like this homage to 70s horror films and exploitation films as well, in addition to other like sort of early 80s motifs in the horror genre too. Let's see. There's also like this sort of subgenre of horror that Nava, you may have more knowledge on this, or other folks in the panel, where like older folks are kind of the source of like the tension and the horror, and they're not necessarily like monsters or creatures, anything like that. They're just sort of like menacing in how they are kind of like a stark reminder of like the reality of aging, and like how youth is so like fleeting and things like that. So there are some pretty profound themes that I kind of like latched onto in the movie, and we can discuss if like we feel like the movie was successful in how it communicated those themes too. But yeah, I definitely want to get y'all's take as we go around the panel. Skiiwalker, what were your thoughts, like high level overview, before we get into like some nitty gritty details?
Yeah, I picked up on a lot of that stuff too. There was definitely a lot of themes that this movie was touching on in terms of like aging and touching on relationships, right? And I was there for it all. I really enjoyed the tension that this movie builds, as well as the way it kind of executes towards the end. So just all around, I hope that there is some kind of sequel. I would definitely show back up.
For sure. And yeah, Ashley, what were your thoughts on some of like the themes that the movie was, attempting to kind of deconstruct and share through the narrative? Do you feel like it kind of floundered on some parts, or was it successful in execution for you?
Yes, can you skip me real quick? I'm sorry. I just put something in the private chat. I'm very sorry.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Sorry about that. Just now saw that. Okay, cool. We will go ahead and jump to Black Ops Jimbo. What were your thoughts on some of the themes that the movie was executing through the narrative? Do you feel like it was successful in what it was trying to do, or do you feel like there were some parts that kind of didn't really hit for you?
I think probably that was the one thing I immediately picked up as the movie was going along, was the overall theme. And like for me, I thought it was like about the aspect of aging and beauty. Like those are like the biggest, like that's like the overall theme I think from this movie. And I think they did it in such a unique way of like touching on that aspect and like people's feelings, because it's like we got like a look on like with the old couple, kind of like their thoughts of like these younger people and like constantly like what they're like, oh, they were constantly flaunting and stuff throughout the movie, and they just like, man, I wish to be young again. It was such a unique aspect of that film, and they did it perfectly.
Totally. And yeah, Nava, what were your thoughts on how the movie executed on some of those themes that we touched on, or were there additional themes that I missed that you picked up on too?
I think you said a really good point with the like the exploitation 70s like grindhouse. When I first started getting into horror, when I wanted to like get really into horror, I found out about like video nasties and like the shit from the 70s and like grindhouse and stuff like that, and exploitation, and I hate it. I love learning about it, but I really hate those kind of movies. So when I saw this coming out, I was like, okay, we got Britney Snow, we've got Mia Goth. I was like, okay, this is gonna be really cool. I feel like they're gonna do something really interesting with this. And so I had no idea that we were gonna get into some deep shit about aging. I felt some type of way. I was a little emotional. I was like, it hit some emotional moments. But then I was like, I'd be resentful and bitter too. I get it. It's the 70s. We were once beautiful, I guess. So yeah, I really liked it. I really like that whole angle of just like the villain and like being aged, and of course it's being told by a woman. I liked it.
Yeah, definitely. What I really like is that a lot of horror movies, like in my limited scope of like watching a lot of them, like some of like the mainstream ones I am well aware of, where there's a woman protagonist, and oftentimes she's like, you know, a younger woman, like, you know, like in her early 20s or like late teens, and kind of in this coming of age cusp of like, you know, or intersection of her life. And that's pretty much where we find our protagonist. I forget her name. Oh wait, Minx. I think her porn star name is something Minx or something like that. So I'll just call her Minx. So basically, the girl with the freckles on one side of her face. So it's revealed later on, you know, how she came into, you know, this quote unquote lifestyle choice. Essentially, she's kind of a runaway. She is a pastor's daughter, and there's a reoccurring, you know, theme of hearing this televangelist, you know, going on and on about, you know, how like the world is, you know, becoming more corrupt and secular and leaning more towards, you know, like the way of like, you know, sinful behavior and things like that. And it's oftentimes used to drain out the monotonous, you know, dialogue sometimes. But I think that was a really cool way to just sort of like be a reminder of like the time frame that these events were taking place. Like it's set in 1979. It's like right when like hardcore like drug consumption and party culture entering into the 80s, where, you know, consumerism and capitalism were going to be like huge themes going into, you know, how the United States were developing. And we just sort of like skyrocket even further into like this sort of secular, like global, like, you know, interconnected society, completely different from what, you know, the televangelist, you know, is like preaching about, you know, keeping like, you know, the home and like the nuclear family like secure and things like that, and having like those like very like old-timey religious values of the home and like family and close in mind. So while our main characters are out exploring the world in Houston, they are also sort of like down on their luck and in need of like money. So they end up having to create this XXX movie in hopes of, you know, that being a launch pad to their eventual film careers as Hollywood actors. So I thought that was a pretty good like launching or a starting point to kind of like build some empathy for these characters. I'll admit, like, you know, usually in these types of movies, there are people that are like very, very dislikable, but I didn't really get a feeling of like really disliking anyone in the movie. Maybe the Matthew McConaughey guy, but he really wasn't even a jerk, you know? I definitely want to get y'all's take on like the characters and if there were any that were like standouts for you. Skiiwalker, you can go first.
Yeah, I pretty much liked everybody. Even though I did, what's her name? Lorraine. I kind of blamed her for everything. You know what I'm saying?
The blonde girl?
No, the RJ's girlfriend, the one that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know, because I kind of felt like that little decision kind of snowballed into everything happening, and it led to RJ being outside. But no, I really loved all of the characters. I loved the way that they were interacting. I thought that the writing was pretty cool. A lot of the shots were pretty cool. It had, you know, some great cinematography in there. Yeah, and just seeing the way that all of the characters met their end was pretty cool too. Like, I kind of predicted that Kid Cudi was going to be the one to get shot, and I was right about that. So, but yeah, in terms of the characters, I pretty much liked everybody.
Totally. Yeah, Ashley, what were your thoughts on the characters? Were there any that were kind of annoying or weren't really well acted or kind of jarring for you? Or was everyone pretty good on top of the film?
I think that everyone was solid. I guess if I was going to say who's my least favorite was RJ, but I mean, that's really more of a nitpick, really. He was just kind of like, I think it was like the character, you know, slightly annoying at times, and, you know, but not a bad performance from the actor. But I think overall, I think the cast was solid. I liked everyone. I really like Jennifer Ortega, Lorraine. I really like her. I enjoy her in everything that I see her in. Like, I remember I've seen her. She was in You, and now she's doing other things. She was in Scream 5, so she was my favorite. But I think overall the cast was solid.
Yeah, Jimbo, how about you? Like, any cast members stand out for you? Any performances that were kind of highlights or not so highlights for you?
I would say everyone had a pretty solid performance. I mean, Lorraine, character name. I honestly forgot every character's name, so I can only think of like the actor because it's just recently watched it, as I said. But I think she really stood out, especially when she was locked in the basement. Like, that was probably like one of the best scenes in the movie. Just her emotion in that scene, and of course when, you know, later when she tries to get out. I'm not gonna try to spoil it because I don't know if we're in that section yet, but that scene is just, oh man, crazy. But I definitely think the one person who survives at the end, I don't remember the character's name, but that whoever played that character, amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, Mia Goth, or Goth.
Yes,
I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing her name. I read up on like a lot of like the actors and what they're doing and stuff like that, or what they've been in after I watched this, because I was that interested to see, like, you know, what else can I like see them in, because they were that good. How about you, Nava? Any like of the cast like were highlights or lowlights for you?
Yes. I was waiting. I'm so glad you brought this up, because I was waiting for somebody to be really shitty. Like, I was waiting for like the Matthew McConaughey kind of character to be like gross and grimy, be weird. I was waiting for somebody to be really like, I mean, I guess we got that was an RJ. He drove me freaking insane. I was ready to
Yeah, what a hypocrite. We'll get into that too, but yeah.
Right.
We needed somebody to hate, and that was him. He did it really well. But I think that each of the girls, I loved like Britney Snow, Jenna Ortega, and Mia Goth. I loved them together. I love their chemistry. I love their little moments. There's a part, the part where they're putting the makeup on Jenna Ortega for her big scene, and I was just like, I love this girl time. I really liked all the chemistry between everybody, and Kid Cudi. Holy crap.
Oh my gosh, yes. He like I'm upset that he didn't really get too much screen time because I felt like he was so likable. He had such great screen presence. There was this one screenshot you sent me of him where he's like looking out the door, and then the old man whose house that they're kind of renting to shoot their porno at, he's just sort of menacingly staring at Kid Cudi while Cudi is like looking to see what's making noise outside, and that's also this very revealing scene where we get a silhouette of him and
I was waiting for you to like when you tweeted that something about Kid Cudi before like a while ago. I was like,
yes. Oh my gosh, yeah. I verbally yelled. I was like, what? I was not expecting the movie to go there. So yeah. I wish we could have seen more of him in the movie.
More of him.
I think y'all saw enough of Kid Cudi.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I'm getting back into some of the if we were to get into the first overarching theme of the movie is obviously age and the fleeting of youth and things like that. That was a really profound kind of overarching motif throughout the movie. The older folks that the cast is renting this house from on this abandoned farm or whatever, they are very much in the end of their days, and it's weird. So the way that they applied the prosthetics on these older people, and spoiler alert, well we're already deep in spoilers, but Mia Goth also plays Pearl, who is the older wife on the farm, and then Howard I thought was played by the same guy who played the Matthew McConaughey guy, but I think it's a different actor. I thought it was gonna have some sort of weird multi-dimensional time travel sort of thing where her future self was looking at her past self or something, but that didn't happen. It didn't get that deep, but I expected that to happen as soon as I saw how similar Mia Goth's character with the freckles looked to the older woman, just in prosthetics and stuff like that. Were y'all distracted by the prosthetics at all? Anyone can go.
No.
No, it wasn't too. I mean, I was just I get that they're old, but you made them look corpses, who are just freshly unearthed.
It was jarring. It was.
I can't believe they walked around. I was like, damn, they're gonna break a hip just by walking. They man look ancient.
Yes. What's up, Ruby? Good to see you. Okay, cool. So I was a little bit distracted by it, but in certain lighting and when you just keep them in the distance in the shadows, it's passable. But yeah, that was just one thing that kind of stood out to me a little bit, that I was surprised the movie didn't really get too deep into about if that's Mia Goth's character's future self or not, which ends up not being the case. But
that
anyway,
dope, though.
When you when
ahead.
they showed the picture of her when she was younger, she looked exactly like her, right?
Yes.
So I was kind of thinking that it was gonna be going in that direction too, with her being some older version of her, but yeah, it's just two separate people.
For sure. Let's see. So another thing that I caught on to in the movie was again, this is kind of the intersection that a lot of these younger people in the movie are at, where they are making the decision to go through with their careers in the adult film industry, or potentially go another route to fulfill their dream, but of being secure and a well-known star and stuff like that. So this is also where Jennifer Ortega's character, the youngest girl from Scream 5, also sort of has this awakening almost, where she is very much out of her element. She's helping her boyfriend film, and her boyfriend has dreams of grandeur, of making this amazing French cinema inspired pornography film that's high art, and claps
Pure
for
cinema.
him for having pure cinema, French kiss or a chef's kiss, type style of cinema. And she's just along for the ride. She's not really judging anyone. She's more just kind of nervous, like because she's so out of her element. But she never actually judges anyone, which I thought was really cool. So like again, no one in this film is really unlikable except for maybe RJ, because he does end up, you know, once like his girlfriend has, you know, her awakening and wants to star in the film, then all of a sudden like he has a problem with you know, her being involved when it's someone that, you know, he's like, you know, emotionally and physically attached to. So I don't know what y'all's thoughts were on that. Like Skiiwalker, you can go first.
I mean, look, I understand that, you know, the RJ character came off a little bit soft for some of y'all, you know, but hey, I feel him like, you know, you ain't gonna want your girl, you know what I'm saying, like doing that stuff. Even if he did think it was cool for somebody else, right? You know, but you know, look, I'm Team RJ. I'm just joking. Nah, look, he was pretty cool though. But I did think that on her awakening, right? And I understood it, right? Because she wasn't really judgmental towards any of the other characters. That was made very clear throughout the dialogue. And when they were speaking, right? You know, I think that she really did a good job of, you know, really getting that across, right? But, you know, hey, I still think that, you know, her awakening led to everything kind of going south. I mean, you know, let's just keep it a buck. Like, you know, if she didn't do that, RJ would have never been outside, which is like low key what led to all this, because RJ was out there and got picked off. And then one by one, because everybody was looking for RJ.
The old lady.
You know what I'm saying? So let's not absolve Lorraine from any, you know, wrongdoing. You know.
Ashley, what do you think about this take? Do you think that, okay, are you Team Lorraine or Team RJ? You don't have to answer that, but I'm just like trying to get into the rebuttal on this.
I mean, I can understand why him having the feelings that he had about it, but it's like you're already kind of in this industry, you're supporting it. So the fact that your girlfriend is now interested in it, I feel like you can't have such a reverse reaction to it, you know, even though I can understand like the dynamics of the relationship. But is Lorraine guilty for all this happening? Absolutely not, Skiiwalker. You know, this woman was already gonna like find some reason to like snap. It was just in that moment that she chose for it to happen. But I think that even if RJ hadn't been standing outside, you know, and ready to like take his ball and go home, she still would have come and started killing them one by one anyway. Like, you know. Yeah,
but she'd have had to go into the house, you know what I'm saying? And that's a much different struggle. You know what I'm saying? Like when you got to go into the house rather than everybody getting drawn out into the, you know, and being separated, right? No, I'm not saying that it was all her fault. I'm just saying that, you know, she did kind of, she was the catalyst. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know.
All right. And Jimbo, what are your thoughts on that? Like, was Lorraine really like the catalyst for all this going down, or do you agree with Ashley where this would have gone down anyway? There would have been just different circumstances for people to leave the house in the middle of the night. Like, what's your take?
I mean, the way I'm definitely for. I understand RJ's perspective. Like, I can be like, all right, I can kind of see where you're going from, but like, I mean, I agree with Wayne. Like, if she wants to do it, she's gonna do it either way. You just gotta accept it. It's not like I get it.
That's his name, Wayne, the Matthew McConaughey guy. Yeah.
See, I remember one character like, in the trailer, but yeah, I get it. But it's kind of hard. I mean, I can agree with Skiiwalker on this because it's kind of hard to see like why she would just go out and just get him in the house. Because I mean, for me, it's like RJ rejected the old lady. And kind of said like, oh, I don't want to see that. That's exactly what he said when she tried to strip in front of him and get it on. He's like, I don't want to see that. And I'm like, oh, that's just gonna, that's not what she wanted to hear. But it's just all, but so then they just set her off. But I mean, I think it was gonna kind of happen either way, because I mean, when he finally approaches her, you could already see her arm behind her back, which I'm like, oh, she's either holding a gun or a knife. So I kind of figured it was gonna be one of the two, and it was gonna happen. So it would have happened either way, but Team Lorraine, let's go.
What's your take, Nava?
RJ was a big ass baby.
I know he had a mental breakdown in the shower.
Oh my god! I've seen so many people talk about this. How he was so tender and emotional. No,
Y'all don't understand RJ crying now. I'm sorry. Like, come on, he's crying. Like,
I mean, I feel bad.
Oh, well.
Heart was broken.
I'm just like, there's a way to like talk to your partner and not lash out and be like, no, you can't do that. Like, she's property.
That's being
I swear,
controlling.
I feel that.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, Lorraine should have left his ass. I wouldn't have talked to him. I would have got
As
grossed
soon as
out.
he yelled and said no, I'm like, okay, that's controlling. That's kind of, like.
I was just-
Yeah, he
people
had
have this
he had to make a
discussion.
point to like kind of declare dominance in front of everyone because he felt threatened, and I'm just like, yeah,
I just
no,
read,
like,
Kid Cudi and his
Yeah.
9mm, but I mean, it's all right.
I mean, like, I understand not wanting, to film your partner like sleeping with somebody else. I get that, but I feel like the character, that's not what he was like his intention. Like, I feel like the character wasn't thinking about that. I think he was saying like it was like a crude situation. I think that just the way that it was written, instead of him seeing his partner with somebody else, I think he was like, you can't do that because hoes do that. Like, I think that's what the character was doing. That's why I hate it.
yeah, that's a good point. Him and Wayne have this like powwow outside where he's just like, Lorraine's not like, those other girls inside. And like, Wayne's like, I hate to break it to you, but none of them are good girls.
right? Wayne was a G in that scene. Like, actually, I'm like, yeah, way to go, Wayne. Man just said it how it is. But I'm like,
Hey, look, I feel Wayne saying that, right? But are we gonna blame RJ for being in love?
Was he
Right?
in love, or did he just want to like tell her not to do something?
No, like,
Just
why
didn't wanna
would
be in a
you
cuckold
want?
He
Like,
had his
why-
masculinity challenged, I think,
Why-
and he kind of
why
felt
would
shook
he-
by it.
I don't understand why you guys think that he would want to film that. Like, why would you
Right?
want
that's
to
what I'm saying.
film?
I can agree with him on
Your
that because it's like it's
girlfriend.
kind of sus. Like, I mean, like it's like in my mind, it's like bro being put in like a cuckold for like filming that. It's kind of weird. I get it, his perspective, but like the way he went about doing it,
I
is
agree.
the
I agree.
issue. It's just
See,
it's just his
'cause
conversation about that.
I'd have just been like, oh, cool, you want to do that? We can do that. And then I'd have filmed it, and then it just would have been a wrap. Like, we just wouldn't have been together no more. So I do feel that, right? But, at the same time, my man's was down bad in a bad situation. And, he was in love.
He didn't
That's all
pass
I'm
the
saying.
test. He failed. He could have just had a conversation instead of lashing out on his girlfriend.
Exactly. That's my only issue. Like, I understand your perspective, but the way you went about doing it is a problem. You could have just been like, all right, let's go into like a room and have a conversation about this and just settle things. That's just the way you do things. You have a conversation. If you're in a relationship, which I honestly, until that moment, I didn't even know they're in a relationship. I didn't get that vibe in the movie. But then I'm like, oh shit, I can definitely see it now. But it's just like, dude, you just gotta talk it out. That's what you do.
Hey, real quick, she couldn't have pulled him to the side and said that she wanted to do that in the side room. She had to say that in front of everybody.
Well, that's when she had her awakening. So she's like, all right, I want to.
Come on, man.
Declaration.
Okay,
of
like I
Reasons
want to get
Defending.
Ashley's take. Okay, so like I'm immediately thinking, okay, like RJ is 23. Like it's mentioned that, like Wayne says, I was 23 before, I'm 42 now. Like I know how this is gonna roll out. If you say that she can't do this, she's gonna go and hoe out, like beyond like any rational thought. Like if you say like no to her. So do you think that like they could have talked it out, or do you feel like what's your take on this?
I mean, I think that he should have really, like, if he had some type of feeling about it, he should have pulled her to the side. Like even though she brought it up and he was like, you're not doing that. It's like, who are you to be like, what I'm not gonna do? Like, it's like, it's horrible. Like, for somebody to be like, you're not doing that. Oh, really? Instead of saying, this is how I feel, I wish you wouldn't do this, to suddenly like come at it from the stance, you're not going to do something like that. You usually are going to get the opposite reaction anyway. Well, I'm going to do it anyway. Like, you just need to approach it differently and having the conversation outside of that room, instead of like trying to like put your foot down and be like, I'm the man, and toxic masculinity and all that great stuff. You could have just like said, this is how I feel about it, but he didn't do it. So he really lost, and he was an ass in that moment.
Another thing too about like the time frame of this movie, 1979. This is like, you know, the post like feminist movement, or like while it's still ramping up. So women like in this sort of discovery period. I know, Skiiwalker, you're rolling your eyes, rolling your neck. Like, I see you. Like, okay, just hear me out. Hear me out. Okay, so like, yeah, like these young women, like I said, they're at this intersection of their life where they're just like, I have better places to be than where I came from. That's like roughly like one of the lines in the movie. And I'm just like, yes, girl, like I got better places to be. Like, so I felt that. It's not like, you know, like, it's not me trying to say like, you know, this movie has like, you know, has like that big theme going for it. But like, that is like a motivating factor where like people in the States in that time frame had that state of mind where like, yeah, they have better aspirations than being like, you know, like told what to do by society and like maintaining like this like, you know, prim and proper, you know, presentation of what it is to be like, you know, a woman or anything like that. And the older folks in the movie kind of like embody those values, like the war veteran, you know, older husband, and like the wife who, you know, kind of was always like left waiting or never got what she wanted. That's a line that Mia Goth's both of her characters in the movie, the girl with the freckles and the older woman that she plays, say like, you know, they never get what they want. So they're both sort of like in this, you know, struggle to where one, the older woman is like tied to those like old timey values, and then younger Mia Goth's character with the freckles is trying to escape like, you know, the same fate that the older woman like unfortunately fell to. So I thought that was pretty cool. Like, again, I'm not endorsing or not endorsing, you know, them not how Lorraine and RJ made that decision to go through with shooting the scene. I do think that they should have talked, but I think in that time frame and them being so young, it was probably like not going to happen anyway. Younger folks don't know how to talk about their problems that well. At least like I sure didn't. And I was like pretty rebellious too. If someone tells me no, I'm going to, you know, do the opposite. So yeah, that's kind of like my take on that dynamic. I don't know if anyone else has something else to add to that.
I do. Wait. And another,
yeah, go ahead.
I just realized too, because I forgot the context of the scene. The way he paints being in the movie is like art. It's not seen as like, you know, like a sex.
It's pornography. It's seen as like cinema.
Yeah, he's like building it up like these are actors, because that was the huge thing that made him
like this is a business. This is a performance. These people are not actually like love doing this. This is a performance.
Yes.
I mean, he's talking about this is his art. This is his craft. So, because I was thinking, I was like, why did she want to do it so bad? Yeah, that's literally the scene. That's what they're talking about.
Yeah,
is how this is going to be so beautiful. And she's like, I'm going to do that. And he's like, no. And that's why I hated him so much. Because he was
now it's pornography, not cinema anymore. You know, it's just like they both flipped. And they're kind of their take, and I'm like, oh, I just shook my head. I'm sitting there, like, oh, come on, dude, you can't just do this now. At least the way you did it, I'm just like, but RJ eventually, you know, man really dipped on "Don't Fear the Reaper" playing on the stereo. I'm like, oh, he's a goner.
I do want to read Forth's comment. Thank you for coming out, Forth. Watched X a few weeks ago. It was decent for Ty West. I liked the premise, the characters. Just thought the villains were weak and how it didn't make sense that they were killing together. Thought when it came to the sex, the movie was pretty weak. All the violence is top notch. But when it came to the movie making a lot of cropped out shots of nudity. Yeah, so like in regards to why the couple were killing together part, I guess we can... well, we're still kind of like mowing through like the synopsis of the movies, but there is a prequel announced for Pearl, the older woman in the movie. So just like a heads up for y'all, like we will probably get some more context as far as like other people who met their untimely fate at the hands of Howard and Pearl. So I did not yet see the trailer for that. Oh, Skiiwalker, what were you about to say?
I was gonna say that when it comes to the couple, I actually did understand why they were killing, and I think it did make sense. That was one of the other themes that I thought was kind of prevalent throughout this movie, is the lengths that a man will go through to make his woman happy. Like if, you know, he's like really in love, right? Howard, you know, really showed like a lot of dedication to his wife, and him like really wanting to see her happy. And I did feel that angle, right? Like I've been married before, and so kind of like know what that feels like to want to kind of like make your wife happy. And so to see this kind of extreme version of it so long down the line, I felt like that was cool as well.
For sure. How about anyone else on the panel? Did you feel like the motives for why the Pearl and Howard were killing the folks on the property was like a little unclear? Like when Pearl was just randomly stabbed RJ in the neck, I was not expecting that like necessarily. I figured there would be like, bodies dropping, but I didn't expect it in that context. So I just want to get y'all's take on, how the killing actually ramped up in the movie. Anyone can go if they want to jump in.
I really liked how in the beginning we all kind of thought that he was like an asshole, that he didn't like her, he didn't want to sleep with her because he wasn't attracted to her, because like she's aging, because that's what she's saying. It sounded like a personal problem towards the end, because we do find out that he's devoted and he is bringing people for her to kill and shit. Honestly, that's really dark too, because the whole basement scene and stuff like that. But I think it's really interesting how it flipped, because like you're expecting him to be an asshole that's not attracted to her because she's older, and like he won't sleep with her because she's ugly and older. But it turns out he's actually a devoted, pretty solid ass husband.
Oh, that's a good point. He does mention in the movie like, oh, I brought you someone else or something like that, and she's in the basement. And then like later on, she's like, oh, we don't need her, we got each other again, like because they finally like reconsummated, I guess, their relationship. Like, yeah, that was. That scene.
And I was gonna say to that comment about it being more of the wife's issue. No, I mean, look, like as a man, being able to please your wife, like in the bedroom, is a huge part of a relationship, and it's a huge part of like a man's ego, right? And so, for him to realize like, hey, my heart's failing, I can't do this anymore, but I still want to see you happy and to see you taken care of, that we're going to go through these extreme measures. I did kind of see where that was coming from. And I did like that part at the end too, after they, it was almost like all of the characters kind of had their own like little resolutions before they died. So that was pretty cool.
Ashley, how about you? How did you like the dynamic and like the relationship arc for like the older couple?
I mean, it just seemed like, he did seem like he enabled her behavior, like that they were just like this weird couple, but and it was obviously because he could not do what she wanted him to do. I got it. I believed it. It just seemed like he was, willing to do anything to make her happy, because she was just so miserable most of the time. And I bought it, and so that's about all I have to say about that.
Jimbo, how about you?
Sorry, 1 second. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, how did you like the dynamic of the older couple? Did you feel like their motives were pretty clear from what we got in the movie, or do you feel like there was some parts missing that would have helped make it more convincing?
I think in terms of her killing, I kind of understood that. Like maybe she was just fed up with kind of like obviously the whole beauty and aging aspect, but like I'm still kind of thinking about it. That was something I was kind of like questioning towards the end of the movie, but I kind of understand like their dynamic and that to an extent, but I would definitely like to kind of know more. I think this prequel, as it's been brought up in the comments a couple of times, hopefully we'll kind of go in depth with that a little bit more.
Okay, yeah, definitely. Let's see. I definitely want to get some. I'm gonna pull up the Pearl trailer to see if I can play that as well as we close out. But any other scene highlights or story arcs that y'all want to discuss, or what that stood out for y'all? Anyone can jump in.
Amazing.
Britney Snow is amazing.
God, she did so good. She ate that role up. She's so pretty. I love them all. They're all so good. Britney Snow is great.
Can we just talk about how Grandma could not handle that shotgun though? Like,
she got blue back like
yes,
major.
she said my gift.
like I took a video and I sent it to some people. I'm just sitting there dying in the background. I'm like, damn, she just flew halfway across the yard.
Yes, she
Like,
did.
damn. And I'm like, oh, she's definitely done after that. And then
Yeah.
Mia just really said,
Yeah.
I gotta go this way, and you're right there, so I'm gonna have to kind of go over you.
What's up, Nicotina?
That
Yeah,
was brutal.
I thought it was really frustrating how she's just sort of like, Mia just stood there like staring at Pearl saying like, I am not going to accept a life I do not deserve. And I'm just like,
Right?
what are you doing? You run. Like, get to the car. You have the keys. Like, what's the point of this like standoff?
No,
then
but
she
Pearl
just
saying
kept-
like "help me," that's what like really got me.
She
Like, Pearl
went.
really saying "help me."
She been like that.
I'm like, are you for real?
Yeah.
She really asking for help. That she just murdered all her friends. Like, get out of here.
My head.
Yeah, so like I guess like closing thoughts. Okay, so like the Pearl trailer breakdown, or like the post-credit scene, I should say, that leads into the like basically setting us up for a prequel that is going to be starring
Wait,
Pearl.
it was a post-credit scene?
I didn't know.
I was googling like I'm googling like ex Pearl trailer
You know what? I
prequel.
missed that. I
And-
didn't even know there was anything about Pearl. That was a new thing for me. And then also like there's a post
didn't
credit scene.
see
Like
that.
what the hell? Is
Yeah,
going
so
on?
now I
Yeah,
have to like
I-
rewatch this just to get to the post-credit scene, or I guess I could fast forward, but that's just a heads up for y'all, because like I did not expect any like post-credit scene for this, so
I didn't
therefore
either.
I turned it off like when the
Me
credits
too.
started.
I had no clue whatsoever.
X,
Yeah.
the Marvel movie.
But that's basically setting up the prequel for Pearl, which is in production right now. Sorry, Skywalker, what were you about to say?
No, I was gonna say about the ending of the movie. I thought was almost perfect, Joe. Like it really caught me off guard. You know, it was great the way that the husband died. That was pretty shocking. And yeah, when she went flying through that doorway from that shotgun blast, like that was rich. Like I couldn't stop laughing. I thought it was hilarious. And I am glad that, you know, she decided to put that car in reverse, because I was like, yo, she tripping too. I was like, yo, how are you not gonna kill this chick? Like, you know, she didn't cause all this havoc and damage and killed all your friends and everything, and you just about to let her, but you know, she went ahead and wrapped that up. So I just really enjoyed this movie, guys. Like, I thought it was super original. Like, I didn't really see where it was going at first, and I was not expecting to get a geriatric sex scene, which I got, right? You know what I'm saying? There was
I wasn't expecting that either, and yeah, that
there was a lot of surprises.
Fourth question: would you consider Church Mouse's or Lorraine's death a psycho switch? Did any of us think she was going to be the main character? That's a good question. Oh, Nava, I think you're on mute.
Oh no, I'm just saying yes silently.
Okay, no worries. Yeah, I definitely thought that, because Lorraine is at that point where she is awakening, that maybe this would be her story, but lo and behold, it really isn't. It's Mia's, the girl with the freckles. So yeah.
Nah, I knew.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as she got her fingers chopped, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I was like, nah. She ain't about to make it out of here.
Poor girl. Yeah, her whole like, you know, screaming, "I hate you!" And I'm just like, that was like kind of like a jarring moment for me. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, you need to, like, you know, cling to each other to survive. Why are you reacting like this? She's like, it's all your fault. And I'm just like, she did not chop your fingers off. Those old people did.
Yo, see, but that goes back to my earlier point, yo. Like, she took no accountability for that situation, yo. Like, you blaming everybody else. You talking about, oh, it's y'all fault. Ain't nobody make you do that. You know what I'm saying? You the one broke RJ Hart. You the one did that. Had my man crying in the shower.
Oh, come on.
Don't.
That's so mean.
Yeah, let's keep
No,
it
it
a buck.
makes sense to me. She's like a child. Did they say her age? Because I thought she was underage. I think that they said she was like
Same.
freshly 18. So I mean, I
Oh.
believed it. that would be a child's reaction to.
She's wearing her little
I'm
Sunday
just saying.
underwear in
I'm
the
just
scene.
saying.
I'm just like, this is like pure innocence, like about to be like
Yeah.
torn in half, literally.
I was like, this girl better be of age. I'm not signed on for this shit.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm
Oh
thinking
yeah,
like
the age is sus for sure.
my
Well,
only,
she's
I
so
was
young
like,
presenting.
yeah. Well, now here, I thought I was like, okay, hold up, how old is their character? But like, how old is the actress?
She
'Cause,
was like
she's-
18 years old. She's only like what 19 or 20 now. She's young.
wow.
Yeah, she was
I'm
born in like
there's no way they could
2002.
do this. But
Yeah.
get
I
it.
think they were all
weird.
in their 20s. I think everybody was in their 20s.
Yeah,
Like,
Brittany Snow is
character.
well, she's like in her 30s, I think, Brittany Snow, but still she can pass for like maybe like 27 or so. Like she's
Yeah.
definitely the
No,
oldest
no.
one.
I
Yeah.
meant like the characters, like they were all in their 20s. You know what I'm saying? Let's
Jenna
not act
Ortega
like
is
they
only
were.
19. She's only
Wow.
19, and this would have
Wow.
been
Who?
filmed about 2 years, like around 2 years ago.
Which one?
Oh.
Jenna Ortega, she's
17.
the youngest. She's only 19. I saw that and I was like,
So she was 17 when they're making this.
17 or 18. She probably legally had to be legal, but I don't know.
I
Freshly
mean,
18.
Oh.
Maybe they probably had to film that scene last, and if
Yeah.
technically, I mean, but like
It's
still,
like-
that's like borderline kind of sus a little bit.
I
I'm
agree.
like,
Yeah, I was thinking like,
Yikes.
okay, I'm watching this in 2022 and she's 20, so I didn't really have that mindset of like, when was this movie actually produced? When was this scene shot? But now I'm thinking about that now, and I'm just like, oh.
now that's what I was thinking throughout the movie. I'm like, you know what, this
Yes.
is kind of bothering me a little bit. I'm like, I hope they don't go as crazy as they did with Brittany Snow with Jenna Ortega. So I'll be like, you know what, this might have been a little bit sus. And now like she might have been 17 or probably 18 by the time they went back and filmed that scene. It's very questionable in my book.
Just to do a slight segue to his fourth question, did anyone notice the foreshadowing of Brittany Snow's character being eaten by the crocodile in the intro of the movie? It was painted on the wall of the strip club they were leaving in the intro. I did not catch that in my two watch throughs, but that makes sense as like a visual motif that I have to keep an eye out for. What did y'all think of the crocodile death? Do you think that it was? I feel like she could have like reasonably like maybe swam away or kind of struggled her way out. Ashley, do you have any thoughts on like that death, or do you feel like that's fine?
I thought it was like, I knew as soon as she pushed her in the water, just because what happened earlier.
Mhm.
So, but it seemed pretty like quick. So, but I thought it was just like, okay. I mean, I knew it was coming just because like when she pushed her in the water, but I thought it was okay. You know, I thought it was kind of a bad death for her character, but it was cool though.
Like the practical effects for the death, I actually do really appreciate. Like actually like having like a physical like actor in the water, and then like not really seeing the crocodile. It could be like, you know, just someone like, you know, splashing around and kind of obscuring the sight of the crocodile. But there's also really good practical effects for like when Lorraine's like hand gets busted by Howard, I think, and when she gets her face blown off by Howard, and he's like dragging her body, and when Wayne gets that nail or whatever thing stuck in his eye, that was like a really visceral like moment that made me kind of cringe and tense up too. So I think that a lot of like the deaths in this movie were like well executed. They weren't like over the top. Well, like the crocodile death was a little over the top, but everyone else's, like, they were actually like, it felt like in a real space that actually like occurred, and the sound design and how they designed the like, you know, impact of like the gunshots and the physical damage going into the characters, like when Wayne steps on the nail too right before he gets the thing shot in his eye. Like, yeah, like I felt those moments. What about y'all?
RJ's was creepy to me because it just like went on forever and ever.
Oh, right. Like, RJ just getting stabbed over and over. Yeah, and blood just spattering.
I was like, this is
RJ had the worst death too.
It just like kept going on and on.
Man.
And I was like, is this gonna end?
I'm team RJ, yo. I'm team RJ. 100%.
Yeah. His was bad.
Yeah, no, we're
Karma's a
deep in
bitch.
spoilers.
bad too. But yeah,
Yeah.
RJ's was like, and then the dance after RJ's, I was like,
She does her little
Right.
like, you know, the Joker
Yeah.
dance, like
Yeah.
after
Right.
just offing
Like the
him.
yeah,
Joker,
like
I will
very
say
like peaceful though. It's like so. It's like creepy. But yeah.
It gave me like the Visit vibes.
Yeah.
With, like,
Oh
Yeah.
yes, yeah,
Like
the
that-
M Night Shyamalan movie. Yeah.
that movie is great, but like my thing is like that's not even like the creepiest or like my favorite part of the movie. I would say, or I think that was probably like definitely the most brutal death. But like that scene where Mia Goth is just coming out of the water and she just sees the old lady at the house just standing there, and it's like you don't see that right away, but then as they just rapidly zoom in and she's just kind of standing there, like that scene is perfect. Like just the way they kind of do that creepy kind of like odd vibe and interaction, it's just great. But RJ man really, she did not take RJ's denial well.
The alligator scene reminded me of Betty White in Lake Placid. If anybody's seen that,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
alligators. I
Right.
was like, maybe it's a nod. It made me
Yeah.
laugh. I was like, okay.
Skywalker, what were you about to say?
I enjoyed how they foreshadowed, because I liked the first crocodile scene, where she was swimming in the lake. I thought the way that they played that out was kind of different, even though that's an older trope, right? But wait, and what were we speaking about just before that? Because there was another point that I was going to bring up, but never mind. Yeah.
No problem. Closing thoughts on the movie as we're like getting to like the 1 hour mark. This has been a great discussion. Again, I'm a big fan of this movie. I know rating systems aren't for everyone. I personally like them since that's kind of like my basic way of just saying if a movie is like, mid or not. I definitely give this maybe like an 8.5 out of 10. Like better than an 8, not quite a 9, but yeah, it's got a lot of like rewatchability because of all the visual hints and character moments that are definitely rewatchable. There's always new things to sort of pick up on. In the 2 times that I watched it, I felt like I was watching a totally different movie because of like what I carried with me from the previous viewing. But yeah, Skywalker, how about you? Closing thoughts on the movie?
Yeah, I do rate things too. I have no consistency whatsoever. It's just about, how I feel about each film. I would give it like a 7.5. I really enjoyed it and I thought it was really solid. The only thing that I would kind of change is that I felt like in the beginning it took a little bit too long to get to the kind of tension building parts, but outside of that I super enjoyed it, and I would recommend that everybody watch it because it is a very fun watch.
Definitely. And Ashley, how about you? Closing thoughts on the movie? If you wanted to give it a rating or not, what are your thoughts on that?
Sure. Overall, I enjoyed it. I felt like it had a strong cast, great story. If I was going to grade it, I do have a few nitpicks here and there. I would probably give it a 7 out of 10. But overall, it's an enjoyable movie. I believe the rewatchability is high.
Totally. And Jimbo, I know you mentioned your score earlier on Twitter, but has it like changed at all, or what are your thoughts now that we've like kind of dug into it together?
I definitely I think 8.7 out of 10 is still what I'm gonna go with, because I do love the cinematic style and kind of like all the horror styles jammed together from various different films, kind of all in one. And the story is great, the acting was amazing as well, but the rewatchability and kind of like all these other aspects definitely keep it up there. So I don't know, 8.7 I think it's what I'm gonna stay at, but I could maybe say 8.8. But what you guys are talking about, kind of like the mural with the Britney Snow and the alligator, it kind of reminds me of what they did in another A24 film I think it was Midsummer, where they kind of have like the tapestry and it kind of outlines everything. Like that's basically what they did in this one, but we just didn't know it wasn't as obvious, at least to me. But yeah, it's a great film.
Yeah, and Nava, thank you so much for this recommendation. I will never doubt your recommendations ever again. What are your closing thoughts on our discussion in the movie?
It is very rewatchable. I think it was a lot of fun. I'm balancing between like a 7.5 and an 8. I just think the characters were super likable. I could have watched a whole TV show on just like these individual characters. I just really liked that. So yeah, very rewatchable. 7.5, 8-ish. Beautiful.
Nice. Big fan of all these scores. Yeah, we're kind of in the 7 to 8 range, it sounds like. So definitely like a good movie, like very well executed in terms of the cinematography, the color palette, the character acting. The characters are all very likable and empathetic as well, and their motives are generally understandable too. It's not a hard movie to follow either. You can be more in depth about digging into the themes, or you can just watch it as for a fun gory time. It works both ways, in my opinion. But yeah, that's going to close it out for our discussion. I'll go around and do the outros for everyone. Skiiwalker, where can we find you at, and what are you working on?
I will be going live this Sunday. I'm going to be announcing what that's going to be within the next day or so. You guys can find me on YouTube, Skiiwalker Tha Jedi, on Instagram, Skiiwalker the Jedi, and on Twitter, Skiiwalker Tweet. It's been a pleasure being on this panel with you guys. I love you guys' energy, and the discourse has been excellent. So last thing, Team RJ, y'all not changing my mind from this, all right? I'm Team RJ all night, all day. Love you guys, and it's been special. You're good.
Awesome. And Ashley, where can we find you at, and what are you going to be working on?
My channel is The Widow. Well, right now I've got 3 videos that I still have to put up about Barry, Better Call Saul, which is the greatest show on television right now. If you're not watching Better Call Saul, by the way. And then I also have a video, my Moon Knight video. This Saturday, me and my baby doll, sjk.sanctum, will be home in a gaming stream. We'll be playing Kahoot, a bunch of other stuff. And then next Saturday is our big stream where we're going to be talking about Moon Knight and Multiverse of Madness. So that's what I got going on.
Next week's going to be bananas. Moon Knight's wrapping up, and then we got Multiverse of Madness. Yes. It's going to be intense.
It's going to be a big stream Saturday.
And Jimbo, yes, thank you so much. I can't wait to check that out and talk more about Moon Knight with you over on your show on K-Dots' channel next week too. Yes. But yeah, Black Ops, Jimbo, where can we find you at, and what are you going to be working on?
I'm going to be doing a gaming podcast tomorrow with Hans. We're going to be going over the most recent Halo episode and recent gaming news, especially the Call of Duty news that dropped today. But you can find the links and all that stuff over on my Twitter, which is BlackOpsJB.
Awesome. And last but not least, Nava, awesome to have you on the panel for the first time. Where can we find you at, and what are you going to be working on?
Okay, this was so much fun, side note, but I've got a couple things coming out. If you follow my Twitter and my Instagram, I have 2 different names for those. My Instagram is alicianava.cm, and my Twitter is itsnavocado. These are where you're going to find out where I'm streaming. I've got episodic, and my first episode coming out in June. So if you want to watch my videos that I make, that's where it'll be. But all the information will be on my Twitter and my Instagram. So follow me there. Let's be friends.
Yes, links to your Twitter page and everyone else's socials are going to be in the description. Again, thank y'all so much for taking the time to chat about X, latest movie from A24. Awesome, gory horror film, pays homage to cinema in general, the art of cinema, 70s horror exploitation, consumerism, the growth of finding one's identity, and just all
relationships,
age, the fear of aging, toxic relationships, all of the above. We touched on all of that stuff. So I'll go ahead and play the outro. Feel free to step out of the StreamYard, and I will catch y'all later. Thanks everyone in the audience for hanging out with us, and take care. Bye.